algebra, we are covering our first PO3, our first PO3. What a way to kick off a Monday. And as I said, it's one of my favorite objectives because the order of operations is like not the 10 commandments of math, but it's up there. It's important, right? It's like the 7 commandments of math. There are 7 operations that are in order of operations. Everything that we do can basically come back to this. How to solve an equation, how to simplify an expression, okay? How to write an expression correctly. Your 5-card challenge in your math packets, they come back to order of operations as well. And it's pretty important because you can, in theory, have the same expression, such as 3 plus 4 times 7, and have it equal 2 different answers, which is a huge problem. If you're trying to, solve a math equation, you should not come up with 2 different answers most of the time, right? So which is correct? Is 3 plus 4 times 7 49, or is 3 plus 4 times 7 31? First of all, before we get to that, how would you get 49 as an answer? Let's kind of break this down a little bit. How would you get 49? Yeah. How would you get 49 as an answer? Yeah.
If you added the 3 and 4 first,
sure.
Like if there were parentheses.
Well, no. If you add the 3 and the 4 first, you get 7, right? And then multiply 7 by 7, you do get 49. Okay? How would you get 31? If you multiply 4 by 7 first to get 28, and then add 3, you do get 31. So mathematicians realized, oh boy, this could be a huge problem, right? Because some people might like to multiply, might find it easier to multiply first. Some people might like to add first, or just go from left to right, or whatever. So it was decided. It was decided that there should be some sort of rule for this, an order of the operations that you should do when solving an equation. And so which one is correct? Is 3 plus 4 times 7 49, or is 3 plus 4 times 7 31? Gus?
3 plus 4 times 7 equals 31.
Yes, okay? Because in the order of operations, multiplication comes before addition. You probably know that, okay? We are going to go into order of operations fairly deeply here as far as talking about opposite operations and different levels of order of operations. But who can give me the order of operations? What have you learned? Priya?
Parentheses.
Yes.
Exponents.
Yes.
Radicals.
Oh, I'm so glad you put the R in there. Yeah. So the order of operations is PERMDAS. PERMDAS. Okay. Yes, write it all big and bold up across the top there, PERMDAS. And sometimes you'll hear people just say PEMDAS, they leave out the R. I've got my reasons for including it, they've got the reasons for not, and I'll explain what those are in a little bit. But by entering into my classroom, second hour every single day, you are agreeing to be a PERMDAS person. Okay? A PERMDAS person. If ever on a test, I ask you if you are a PEMDAS person or a PERMDAS person, the correct answer is a PERMDAS person. Okay?
So you get automatic.
Automatic, yes. I'm telling you now, it's on the YouTube. It is there for people to hear. You've been warned. PEMDAS is not acceptable in room 260. So P, as Priya said, is parentheses. They are that, right? And parentheses, they aren't really an operation, are they? Like you can't really parenthesize something. So if it's not really an operation, why do we have them? Emily?
Because you need it to make the equation the actual, it helps make the equation easier to understand.
Sure. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Basically tells you what to do first.
If you want to switch up the order of operations, right?
If you want 2 plus 4, then you can do 3 plus 4.
Right. As Chance started to say earlier, if we wanted 3 plus 4 times 7 to be 49, we can make it 49 by adding parentheses around the 3 plus 4. That means do that first, right? It's not an operation. Like I said, you can't parenthesize something. You can multiply something or add something or divide something. So it's more of a way to change the order of operations if necessary, right? And then there's a separation between parentheses and the E and the R, which are exponents and radicals. How are exponents and radicals connected? What's their relationship? You go. They're opposite operations. Okay. E stands for an exponent, right? An example, if you took a number, we'll use a variable, x, and you squared it, okay, that 2 is the power. It's the exponent. It means something times itself. The R, which stands for radicals, or roots, okay, that's the symbol for it, the square root of x. And someone explain for me, how are exponents and radicals opposites? How does that relationship work? How are they opposites? Yeah, Evelyn.
Because with exponents you're multiplying by the same number, with radicals you're dividing by.
Kind of like it, yeah. If you took a number like 6 and you squared it, what does 6 squared equal? 36, right? And then how would you get back to 6? How would you undo squaring?
6, the square root of 36.
Right, you'd root it, and that would get you back to 6 again, right? So if you square something, to undo it, you take the root. Or vice versa, if you start with 81, and you take the root of it to get 9, to get back to 81, you would square. Okay? So that's how exponents and radicals are opposites, which is why I include the R, because with PEMDAS, it really doesn't define what the opposite operation of an exponent is, which is going to be really helpful when we start to solve equations. You're probably familiar with the M, the D, the A, and the S. Again, we have those opposite operations, multiplication and division are opposites. Multiplication, division, and then we have addition, and then we have subtraction. If you change a value by adding, to undo that, you subtract. You change a value by dividing, to undo it, you multiply. Okay. You ever seen those things on your Tic Tacs, your Snaps, or whatever, where it's like, this equation is breaking the internet, no one knows how to solve it, and it's just like a standard order of operations question? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No? Well, if you ever do, my goal is for you all to be the voice of reason, right? And say, no, this is it, and this is why. Okay? We are going to piece the internet back together. If math is breaking the internet, we're going to piece it back together by using the order of operations. Questions on this so far? Okay, let's do some examples. We have, say you will not be able to use a calculator on this section of the test. It does say that you can, if you want to check your answer in your calculator, because you can see the expression as you type it in. Type this exactly as you see it, and that will help you check your answer, make sure you've done it correctly, because your calculator always does the correct order of operations. But on the test, you'll be left with your own intelligence. What would we do first here? What would we do first here? Yeah.
Parentheses.
Parentheses. So what I want you to do is underline the parentheses. You're showing each step, right? I didn't give you this much space to work here just so you could write a giant answer 8. Okay? I give you this much space so that you can show your work and how you're going to get there. So underline what you're doing first. You rewrite the expression with your new value, 7 minus 1 equals 6. So now we have 7 plus 6 divided by 6. What do we do next? Some of you haven't heard me yet today, perhaps. A new voice. Yeah. Division, right? Division before addition. So 6 divided by 6 equals 1. I guess you can still make your answer big, but not as big. Okay? 7 plus 1 equals 8. Right? I need to see the underlines. I need to see the steps. On the test, if you just want to do it in your head, great. But on the homework, I need to see the work. 2 plus 4 squared divided by 8. What are we doing first? We're doing first. Emily. exponent. And what is 4 squared?
16.
16. Thank you for not saying 8. Whenever someone takes 4 squared and it says 8, a little piece inside of me dies. Okay? An exponent is not the same as just multiplying by 2. Right? What this means is 4 times 4. Okay? 4 times 4 is 16. Then what, James?
Divided.
Division before addition again. 16 divided by 8 equals 2. And 2 plus 2 is 4. Sometimes algebra can be a little bit scary because you're probably not used to answers like what we come across in number 4 there. 9 plus 1 divided by 3 squared. What do we do first? Evelyn. Parentheses. And what is 9 plus 1? 10. Does squaring the 3 affect what happens with the parentheses? I guess what I'm asking is, can we do the parentheses and the exponent in the same step? Yes, because both of them have to be done before we divide anyway. It's not like this one where we could do the addition and the parentheses in the same step, because we kind of have to do that before we can add the stuff that must be done first. Here, since division comes last anyway, we could do the 3 squared and the 9 plus 1 in the same step. Okay? Because one doesn't affect the other. They both have to be done before we divide anyway. And here's where I oftentimes get, 10 divided by 9 doesn't work out. That's okay. Okay? In algebra, you're going to have situations where you get a fraction, right? Since you can't use a calculator, I would not expect you to divide 10 by 9 by hand. Is a fraction answer an acceptable answer? Yes. In fact, it's preferred over decimals because with decimals, oftentimes you have to round it. And whenever you round a value, what happens to the value? It loses accuracy. Okay? So if you write your answer 10/9, that's okay. Okay? You'll find as you get deeper into the maths, the use of mixed numbers are used less and less. So I would not want you to convert this to a mixed number. I want you to leave it as an improper fraction. If you did convert it, I wouldn't mark it wrong, so it's still an equivalent value. If you did write it as a decimal, which ends up being 0.11 repeating, or sorry, 1.11 repeating, or 1.1 repeating, I suppose I could put, that's okay too, okay? But 10/9 is all that you would need there. Okay, questions on this section? Flip the page, see what's on page number 2. Any of these 8 that you want to go over? Okay, 25 minus 11 times 3. What are we doing first here? Yeah.
So you multiply?
Yes.
Like the negative 11 times 3.
Right. Technically, and you might remember this back from like PO3, where you combine equations, negative signs belong to the number that comes after it. So technically that does say, even though it's 25 minus 11 times 3, this multiplication is a negative 11 times 3, right? Which equals what? Negative 33. And it's not going to be 25 minus negative 33. It's just 25 minus 33. That subtraction sign has a dual purpose there. It represents subtraction, yes, but it also belongs to the 11. If you multiply negative 11 by 3, it'll then be 25 minus 33, because that sign belongs to the 33. Okay? And then what is 25 minus 33? Negative 8. Thought I heard someone say. Okay? Others to discuss, perhaps. 500. Second row, second one, 500 minus 4 times 7 plus 3 squared. Yikes. What are we doing first? Parentheses. We rewrite the expression. 500 minus 4 times 10 squared. And also, you kind of got to get used to what is shown to multiply, right? We've got the dot multiply. We've got parentheses here. It means we're multiplying 4 times that quantity. What you don't see is an x, which is kind of, you grew up learning that x means to multiply. When I become the minister of math, the first thing I'm going to change is banish that, because in algebra, what is x usually? Well, you use a dot for multiplication, but when you see an x in algebra, what does it usually refer to? A variable, right? Am I graphing something? Am I solving for x, right? So kind of shy away from using an x to show that you are multiplying. The only time, really, honestly, that you'll see it in algebra is with scientific notation. If you jump ahead to CO5, you'll see we use it there. And that's because it's a notation. It has to be written a certain way, and the x is used for that. But you also see it's not like a letter x, it's kind of like a widened out x. Anyway, we'll get that later. But what do we do next? Kind of lost my thought. Yeah, squared. What is 10 squared? 100. So we have 500 minus 4 times 100. What do we do next?
4 times 100, which is 400, minus 500, which is 100.
Negative 4 times 100, or 500 minus 400, which does indeed equal 100. But I need to see the work there. Okay, I need to see the work there. Next section is parentheses can greatly affect the value of an expression. Don't do this one. We'll talk about it when we correct this page. This is one I want to go over with you, and we're kind of running short on time a little bit. So don't do that for homework, but don't just like X the whole thing out, because we will talk about it. But you do need to do the one below that says place parentheses in the equation to make it equal to 45. So here's where we use parentheses to there we go. Change the order, right? As it's written, 60 minus 7 plus 4 times 2 is not 45. First, we have to multiply, which is 8. 60 minus 7 is 53. Add the 8, that gives us 61. We want the equation equal 45. So where could we add parentheses that will change the order of operations so that it does equal 45? See it? Around the 60 minus 7? That's not really going to affect our order too much, because once we multiply 4 times 2, we'd start by subtracting 60 minus 7 anyway, because when you have subtraction and addition left, you work from left to right, right? So that's not really going to change our order by putting them there. Like that? No? You're on the right track, though.
Wait, isn't it?
No. It's only one other.
I think I.
60 minus 7 plus 4. Oh, 2 parentheses.
So around the 60 and the 4?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to give you 57 times 2. That's 114.
I got it.
We're a little bit off there. Chance?
I think it's from the 7 to the times 2.
It is. It's all the way around there, right? Because if you do that in parentheses first, you do still multiply. 4 times 2 is 8. But then you add 7 to that. What do you get? 15. Right? And then 60 minus 15 does equal 45. So this is a bit of a challenge, kind of a puzzle. Okay? How can you manipulate the equation to make it what you want it to be? And you want every equation to equal 45. It's possible for all of them. You might need more than one set. That's not out of the question. Okay? But that's how you would do it. And then time for review at the bottom. What is a whole number? What is an integer? What is a rational number? And then simplify each of those. Those can obviously be found in either CO1 or CO2. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, comments, congratulations, or criticisms? 4? Well, thank you very much. You know, I actually have a song about the order of operations I'm kind of working on. If you don't mind, Can I sing you a bar?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a Schultz original. Do I add or divide, subtract or multiply? The order is PERNDAS. Do it first when you see there are parentheses. The order is PERNDAS. If you have frustrations with the order of operations, always do it PERNDAS.
You wonder why I don't subscribe.
Revoke his sticker.
I will not revoke his sticker. He is entitled to his opinion, no matter how wrong it may be. He is entitled to his opinion. Okay, this is not due tomorrow. Tomorrow is the math test. You'll start your math test in the morning. We'll be on a mass schedule. So from 7:45 until 8:38, 8:45, you should be working on your math test. Then if you don't finish, which I wouldn't expect you to, then you can finish during your math class tomorrow. Okay, so this is due on Wednesday. There's no homework check, no bell ringer except for Tatum. And this is going to be collected and checked in on Wednesday. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, Collins, congratulations, or criticisms? Jonas!
If everyone tells them,
He subscribed.
if everyone tells their mom to subscribe, I think we'll get.
Yeah. Yes, get your parents on board. We're like 50 away from merch. Okay, folks, remember the outro. That's how you math.
Don't forget.